Yeah, the shit you can do in post like really helps out sometimes.
A lot of the time, that's why I'm glad I'm able to do it like this. Because if this was live, it's like.
Did you learn off? Did you learn off of like YouTube to edit, or you just been doing it since you were younger?
Yeah, I've been doing YouTube for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Off and on. Like I was watching videos from like 8 years ago when I was like doing little shit. So it was like the little stuff I was doing then. I learned it a little bit, so it kind of benefited me now. And I'm just as good with a lot of computers. Xbox trading. I'm just around a lot of computers in general. And now I got the time, so it's kind of. Yeah, I learned a lot with the actual camera. Like I have to learn settings in there, white balance, ISO, and
ISO, shutter speed.
I have a lot of people. Like I had one of my friends. He's a photographer. He was telling me about the Ring cameras. He was trying to give me like the stuff.
Yeah, the lighting's important.
The lighting's everything too. But we're learning as we go. But we about to get right on into it. But what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to FBA Capital. And I'm back with another podcast. And today I'm with my friend
Nate Garcia, man.
And yeah, if you want to just kind of give them a little bit of a brief breakdown on what you do, where you are, your age, and all of that.
For sure. So I'm a day trader. Been day trading for a little over 2 years now. I'm 24, over here in the Tampa area. And yeah, right now day trading is like my main gig. I'm looking to, take the capital that I've been making off of it and investing it into other areas, maybe some Amazon FBA, real estate. So yeah.
And yeah, but we about to get into like trading. We're gonna talk about everything, lifestyle, just content. Because I know you said you're doing a lot of content. What's the type of content you've been getting into?
So a lot of mindset stuff and a lot of trading things. Because I mean, I'm sure when it comes to trading, like your mindset is everything.
Psychology is everything.
Psychology is everything, and it's not even just about the psychology and trading. It's just how you view life. Like you got to see things as you're able to do it. You have to see the possibility at the end of the, at the end of a really hard time, because life ain't easy. Like you got to grind.
Definitely. One thing I always tell people is anything that's worth it is going to take time.
For sure.
Nothing that comes easy is going to end up being worth it.
Right.
Another little saying is fast money, slow problems is another thing. Because when you try to run, it was an analogy my friend used yesterday. It's like going up the stairs. If you run and try to skip steps, you might make it. You might make it, but then sometimes you might trip and you might fall even farther than where you really were. And that was a good analogy. I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to use that, because it's true. A lot of the time, momentum, it could help you, but when you're moving too fast, it's better to take it step by step, one step at a time, because you know that you're gonna more than likely consistently get to that end goal, the top of the stairs.
Oh yeah, biting off more than you can chew is definitely something you want to get out of, man. But also, like, behind mindset, like, if you do end up falling because you're going too fast, you have that ability to readjust, because, you might understand yourself a bit more, or have a circle around you that can talk about, similar challenges that everyone is facing.
Yeah, less is more a lot of the time. But let's kind of get into your trading. When did you start trading, and, like, how was that all going about?
Yeah, for sure. So I started trading in mid-2020. Yeah, the way that I got into it was, similar stories I've heard online. It was through an MLM company. I just saw an ad one day when I was on YouTube, and some guy was saying, yo, we'll send you out these signals. You just punch them into your phone.
Signal gurus, signal providers.
Yeah.
We all been there.
Yeah, all been there. And yeah, you can make fast money on your phone. It's easy. So, I hopped in. I was just working from home at the time, so I had some bread that I was just stacking on, and I was like, all right, let me see what I can do with it. And yeah, it was just not the best experience.
Yeah, we all been there. I remember I first started, I was in a couple of signal services, but the one thing that I say a lot of people benefit from these signal providers and signal services is going to get you in the game. You're going to understand the possibilities. You're also going to understand that you could lose money.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep the people that actually are driven, and they're going to keep going after that. The people that just want to make money, they don't want to learn. After they lose some money, they're going to get kicked out. Like,
yeah, for sure.
They're going to be part of that 50% that doesn't continue going, because one thing they always say 90 to 95% of traders fail, but a lot of them, big percentage of that is from the beginning.
Yeah, it's just the quitting aspect.
The longer you are in it, like say 3 years we've been doing it, our chances of success is going to be higher, because we have already shown that we are persistent, and more likely if we're able to do 3 years, probably do 4, 5, and the longer you go, the more likely of your odds are going to keep going higher.
Right.
Because now you can go.
Yeah. So I mean, how we were talking about earlier, like, you got to take it step by step, and a lot of people, they see something like trading and think it's so easy, but they throw out the perspective of, like, university and trade schools, like that's a 2 to 4 year plan, sometimes a 6 year plan. Like the same thing goes on in trading. Like it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Like
It's like
it could, but
anything.
it's not going to.
I compare it to like learning a language. At first, you're
Yeah.
gonna know nothing. It's gonna completely be confusing. Slowly by slowly, you're gonna get little things. Slowly by slowly, you're not gonna get fluent overnight. You might be a little bit, couple months, but it's gonna take you years. And people don't understand when it comes to trading. A lot of the time, it's a lot of self-reflections, a lot of stuff that you have to do, and a lot of people don't realize that. So there's a lot of years wasted thinking it's something on the charts you're doing wrong.
Right.
They don't realize it's them. And as soon as someone's able to realize that the self-development, personal growth is going to be what's going to help you, the psychology, the mental side of it, that's going to keep a lot of people successful. But
No, for sure.
You're a funded trader with FTMO?
Yeah, so I'm funded trader with FTMO. Great experience with them. Can't say anything.
Let's talk about it. When did you get funded? Like, how was the process? And like, what did you learn in the process? Because I know personally, I've learned a lot, especially with funding companies, about risk management and actually percentage.
Yeah.
Looking at it more of percentages and not money. So, what could you say that you've learned from this?
So I got my first funded account a year ago. Actually, maybe like a year and 6 months ago. And you really learn a lot about risk management, because on my personal, I was risking like 10-15% a trade, really trying to flip it.
That's like how it is. The smaller the account, you're going to have to risk more. And that's just kind of the drawbacks to that type of thing. The bigger account, you can risk less while actually making a lot more. So you're actually okay with it compared to anything else.
So also, the trade journal that they have on there, where you're able to track your metrics, it is super useful. It has like the same type of metrics as my FX book. But yeah,
they track like because just for the ones that don't know, they get like the price that you entered in, the price you got out in, the time, the point count, your win rate, your the win rate. They also have
the duration of how long you were actually
your
in the trade.
average lot size, your average profit, your average loss size. They have your equity and like an actual chart.
Right.
And you were talking about they have like a psychology.
Yeah, they have a little psychology section where you can like book an appointment with someone on there, and they'll like talk you through your psychology.
That's good. Yeah. Personally, I haven't tried that, but for anybody that wants to, you would recommend it?
I would highly recommend it. It's good. It's good. But yeah, being able to track all those metrics, like, it gives you a different view on trading, that if you weren't journaling in that same type of fashion, like I was just taking like pictures of like before and then like after, and seeing,
and
like,
it's good because you don't even have to actively do it.
Right.
That's like you can have your journal plus that journal.
Yeah.
Because now you don't even have to take the time out of it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the thing. That's one thing that people don't do. They don't want to take the time to actually make the journal.
And it's sad, man, because we were talking about, you have to figure out the mindset, because once you get a strategy, like, truth be told, there's thousands of strategies and they don't take that long to learn. Yeah. They don't take that long to learn.
I don't even think the strategy is what's going to make you money a lot of the time. A lot of the time, I think if you're actively making a strategy or using someone else's strategy, at some point in time, it has worked then for you to even try it. For you to even think it may work, or for you to even have the idea that you could potentially use this long term, it means it had to work at some point. And if it worked before, more than likely it's going to work over time. But like I said earlier, it comes down to you now.
Yeah.
Over trading, over leveraging, and not following this trade plan, because I think every system works to an extent.
For sure.
Every strategy works. For sure. Smart money, retail, because each is going to give its opportunity to both.
Yeah.
It just comes down to what are you going to do after the losses? How are you going to handle the wins? Things like that. The things that they don't actually talk about that's away from the charts.
For sure. I mean, you mentioned it. You mentioned it's kind of like learning a language, and you're getting taught this language, but maybe your dialect is off, and that's like the same reason why you can't really execute on the charts, even though you're using that same strategy. It's like sometimes you either might make it a little bit more of your own, or you'll like really hunker down on like how it was actually taught to you, and then being able to speak it, if you will, like the same dialect that it was taught to you.
And like even like another way you could look at it, other people learn it faster because sometimes it just comes easier.
Yeah.
Like everyone's perspective on the market is going to be different. The way you look at it may be different than I look at it. We could be using the same strategy.
Yeah, 100%.
Like one thing I've noticed a lot, some people look at the market up and down, and some look at it sideways.
Right.
And if you look like it's just like weird way because it looks so much different, but in reality, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But the perspective of it changes. The way you might say candlestick is a little bit different. And also, if you also want to take it deeper, there's different liquidity fees and providers that are going to give different candles that are going to even give you a different perspective. Like 100%. On one side, it may look like a doji. The other one, it may look like it closed a little bit higher, looking like it could potentially be an engulfing. Those are completely opposite things, and if that's something that could really affect you that people don't really even know about.
Yeah, actually, something I would recommend to people is if you're using TradingView to mark up your charts, find the brokerage on there that is most similar to the actual broker that you're trading with.
Especially with FTMO.
Yeah, for sure, because a news event will pop out, and you'll, like, let's say, for example, on US 30, you'll see a wick on, like, the 5-minute, and it's, 50, 60 pips. But on your actual chart, it's only like 30, so you have to find the chart that actually really mimics it the best.
And also, because a lot of people, when they're going fast, they may look at the price on their trading view, not necessarily look at the price on their MetaTrader. So they may put the stop loss as the price on the trading view, and that might be 10, 20 points off. And if you're trading indexes, that could be either double your stop loss, maybe 1/3 add it, and that could be a big thing because people don't realize, okay, taking a bigger loss is okay. But it's now it's about that mindset is going to put you in. It's putting you at risk to potentially take a trade to make it back. It's putting you in position to potentially over trade, over leverage to try to put it back. Like taking the big loss is okay. Losses are going to happen regardless, but it's what it's going to do to you and how you're going to react to it. That's the problem.
Yeah, a lot of trading is future proofing, making sure that you can actually stay in the game. Because if you're subjecting yourself to all this loss, and especially how you're saying like a misplacement from what you saw in TradingView to MetaTrader, like that can be super detrimental depending on how big that stop loss actually is.
Especially even depending on your account size too, because like you said, if you're risking 15-20% and you either
margin
double your stop loss or even add 1/3, that 15% loss could turn into a 20% loss. That's an extra 5%, but a 20 or 25% loss, and that could do a lot.
That's
and imagine you lose 25% of your account, and people don't realize, you might be able to make it back, but now what if you take another loss? Now you can't even risk that much no more. You have to take, now you're just way set back because you can't even risk the same amount you were once risking because your account size isn't the same no more. The margin isn't the same. Now it's going to take you longer to make it. You're going to constantly risk more. Then that's what slowly leads to decline of blowing an account. And that's why I personally like funded accounts or just accounts that are bigger size because you had the longevity. You could risk 1%. If you risk 1% on a trade and it gets a little bit bigger, you might risk 1.2, 1.5%, which is still not going to kill you. That's still keeping you in the game long term. People don't necessarily look long term. They're trying to make money now. This week, this month, they're trying to flip their account. And I'm all for flipping accounts as long as you know it's for that reason.
You got to have your
okay with it risking that much.
No, for sure. And especially on the funded side of things, like you spend $500, $600 getting a 100K account. And this is only when you're actually, you're a profitable trader. And then you get funded on that. You just flip that $500-600 to maybe $10,000 a month. To do that on a personal account, it's so much more stressful.
You can't. It's possible, but it's very unlikely. It's gonna, like you said, it's gonna give you another level of stress because you're gonna be risking more. You're gonna more than likely be trading more. You're gonna be all the things. When you trade a funded account, you don't have to trade every day. You don't have to trade every week if you really wanted to. One good week could set you up good depending on the way you trade too. If you're a scalper on a funded account and you're actually disciplined,
you can do damage.
There's a lot of possibilities because if you're risking, especially on indexes, 25 points, but you're disciplined enough to take 1 or 2 trades a day, the way those trades can end up playing out, and the thing is with those when you risk that 1%, risking 25 points, if you're able to hold that, like you said, you don't take partials. If you're able to hold that same lot size, the TP45, risking 1 to 1.5, that's going to give you 7-8% on what, 15-30 to an hour. That's a big return.
That's quick money for sure.
Big return, and that's the quick money people want to look for, but they don't understand the same process that you would take on $1,000 accounts. The same thing. It's just going to take time for you to get to that point. It's going to take time for you to build that discipline to get to that point. And get the experience, because experience is the main thing.
That's the part that screwed me up when I was first starting to trade, man, because I was able to read it. I was able to read the language. I saw it. I understood it, but I couldn't execute. And it's because I didn't have that experience. Like, you have to get hit a couple times, man, and get back up and really see, like, you look at yourself and you're like, what the hell am I doing? Like, you got to be really, like, I don't know, just like look yourself in the mirror and be really honest, because if you don't do that early on, or at least when you're, a year, 2 years into trading, like, the likelihood that you're going to make it, it's very, very slim, because you have to really acknowledge your flaws and take it all into account, because you're going to start blaming it on the strategy.
It's a lot of self-reflection, like I said. You got to look at it in the third person. You got to look at what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you're the one doing everything. Placing the trade, exiting the trade, entering the trade, moving stop loss, moving stop loss to break even, taking off stop loss, not adding a stop loss, trading afterwards, doubling the lot size. These are all things that you're doing.
No,
it's not like nothing is making you do it. And once people realize, it's like, damn, you're right. I've just been looking at the chart, and I've done everything. I took the phone, I opened the app. You do literally everything, and people will still blame it on the market.
No, yeah. I mean, I've had instances, man, where I'll be on a winning streak, like 3 or 4 trades. My account's up like 12, 15%, and I take one trade, and I'm already in drawdown. Like, let's say nearly 1%. Add another position, it goes down again.
Psychology part.
And I had to break out of that.
The thing is a lot of people that get into trading, I wouldn't say we're gamblers, but to an extent, we like the rush it gives you.
The euphoria, man. It's like,
it gives you a rush.
Such a rush.
That's also bad, because now when you see negative, even if you're up, like you said, 10, 12%, that little bit of red, you're like, it makes you feel like shit. Even if you know it's the only trade you've lost, it's still going to make you feel like, and you can't really help that. It just comes with time, learning to control it, learning how to handle the losses, learning how to handle the emotions. And that's just real stuff, because people don't really realize that. They're like, I tell a lot of people, I'm like, you can make money, but it's going to come with a lot. Like, you don't even realize what you're in for yet. Yeah,
you got to lose it too first. Like, you really, like, and you said, like, potentially make it back, but the way I see it is, like, you never make that money back. Like, it's especially a loss.
Especially the first few years. You're not going to make it back anytime soon. Even if you think you are.
It's gone. So, like, even now, like, I typically have a strike rate of, like, 40 to 60%. And I acknowledge, like, hey, if I just lost 1-2%, like, my next trade, sure, it puts me back in the green, but I'm never going to make that money back. So it's like, you really have to be serious with yourself and acknowledge why you lost. And losses are business. Yeah, and 100%, it's a business, and losses are inevitable. But it's about, like, how do we understand those losses? Each loss,
learn from them.
Yeah, it's a lesson. It's a lesson. It's an opportunity. So beforehand, I would just get so mad at it, but now I'm grateful. Like, sure, it was $1,000 or $2,000 loss, but that's the price I had to pay, the price of admission to learn something else. And you have to take it with a little bit of grace and throw your ego.
Learn from them, because the losses is showing you that you're doing something wrong.
Right.
That's something a win won't show you.
Yeah.
The win, you don't necessarily know if you did the right thing for the win. You just could take it with a grain of salt. Okay, this worked this time. It may work next time. You can see how many times that happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to always happen now.
Right.
So it can kind of give you, you're not learning from it. You know that you did something right, potentially. On to the next one. Let's see if it works again.
Yeah.
But a loss, okay, this didn't work. Same thing though. It may not always work like this, but now you got to keep on looking at it. And if you keep taking the same losses for same things, you got to realize the pattern. And that comes down to the journaling, like we were saying, self-reflecting, or even if you make content on what you do. That's how I started. I have a lot of videos on YouTube specifically, so I can go back and look at things like my daily range case studies. I can look at trades. A lot of my trades are live, so I can I can go back and watch myself trade.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do that. I can go back and look at myself live trade 175 times.
That's
175.
killer.
I could look at myself in the face, look at how I'm acting, look at my body movement, look at me checking my phone, like see myself how I'm acting in a trade, out of a trade. There's a lot of benefit in that people don't even realize. Hindsight.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you. How did that, like, change your trading? Because when we're trading by ourselves and stuff and we won't got an audience, like, it's chill.
It definitely changes it, because now you feel as if you're kind of responsible for other people in a way. Like, I remember one time, it was probably like last week. It was after I was done the stream, everything. But I don't know if you've ever streamed on YouTube. Sometimes it'll leave the messages in the chat there. Like, the thing will be ended. But if you stay on that screen, it'll show the chat stuff. And I'm looking at it. It was a dad took a loss. Because mind you, quarter four is like, I haven't had the best
quarter four is always.
It is what it is. I remember he was like, why are you selling? He was like, it's buying. He was like, I thought this guy could trade. And I'm looking, I just got out the shower. I'm just like, listen, bro. And mind you, it ended up falling later on in the day. I was just like, listen, bro, I was right. But hey, I ain't going to say nothing about it. But it's just the type of thing where it comes with experience a lot of the time. And when you're trading in front of people, it has that level of responsibility. It has that level of, they're watching me now. I don't want to do some dumb shit. I don't want to.
So it helps. Would you say it helped? Yeah.
Because now you have someone. It's like having someone behind your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like having the teacher behind you when you're taking a test. It's like you're not gonna.
Funny you say that. I have a sticky note right on my monitor that says, "Imagine an investor is behind you, asking you why you are taking that trade."
It's like the third person. I was talking about. You got to look at it like. You got to watch yourself do stuff. You got to look at it from the outside perspective. When you're in the zone, a lot of time it's kind of just focus. You're not really looking at what's going on outside of it. You don't realize, like, that's one thing. If you watch yourself, like, trade or anything, video, you start to notice you do certain things like movements, certain stuff, and it's just like, damn, there's a lot of patterns just in getting data and everything. Journaling myself. The videos is still data to an extent. And if you're able to do that with trading or any business in general, because trading is just another business, it's going to help you tremendously. Because every business, they keep data. They have charts of like everything, inventory. They keep numbers because they know that if it's not, what is it called? If it's not measured, it doesn't, what is it? If it's not measured, something. It's like a saying. Let me think. If it's not measured, it doesn't make money. Something. If it's not measured, it doesn't make sense. Some shit like that. But you gotta like basically.
It's gotta be tracked, or it's no good.
Yeah, I don't know. The saying is somewhere.
I know, right? I'm like, I feel it,
right? But I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But basically, just meaning take data on anything. Same thing with the gym. Record process because you see things that you do, and it all comes down to data, and that's why content creation is so well, and that's why it's good with traders. A lot of traders kind of lean to it because it benefits everyone.
For sure.
Everyone benefits.
It's like, you know, I mean, you're saying the gym, so if you're recording yourself doing a bench or a deadlift, you can really perfect your form because, you know, you're getting that different angle. Or the same thing how, like, you know, in football players, they'll watch plays that they made throughout their games and stuff like that to get that better understanding. It's so important. And the third person view, that is vital because
people don't ever, a lot of people, they just live first person. They don't ever really, a lot of people, they never even realize what they really look like, because when you look in the mirror, it's kind of shit. It's inverted, so they never even see how they physically look in person. So if you're able to like visualize yourself third person, you're able to realize a lot about posture, how you walk, a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily think about until you take that third person perspective. Perspective is everything a lot of the time,
and it kind of shifts your. It makes it less personal when it's third person because it's not about you. It's just, I don't know. It's like, it's less daunting. Like, it doesn't feel such a personal attack because like it's like you're just looking out for yourself, and you would observe the same things within other people. So it's like
you're just looking at how other people would view you, and that's gonna make you change regardless. Because people may say, "I don't care how other people think of me." But at the end of the day, you care to an extent. You dress a certain way, you smell good. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't get a haircut, nothing. You would just be out there. But to an extent, everyone cares what people think, and if you're able to just look at it, that's how you gotta look at it. Same thing with the trading, how we were saying, how it's live, because I care about the opinion of them and how they view me. I care about the perspective, and perspective is everything. Like, perspective goes into marketing. Just the way you view something is everything, because just because you view it a certain way doesn't necessarily make it true or untrue. But if you perceive it that way, you're gonna think that is the truth. Regardless if it is or not, but that's what you believe, even if it's incorrect. And that's kind of crazy to think about.
No, for sure. I have this side project. I'm not going to mention details about it, but it's called The Gift of Perspective. And it really, man, perspective is everything. Like, the way that you see something is more real than reality itself. So, like, hey, you know, I'm looking at this camera here. If I think it looks like a circle and not a rectangle, that's going to be more real to me than the actual reality of, hey, it's a fucking rectangle.
And that's why, like,
it's so important.
Your environment, your beliefs, and the people, like how you grow up is extremely important, because if you grow up around people that have ingrained beliefs into you that are 100% inaccurate,
limiting beliefs.
Who is telling you that it's not true if that's all you know?
Right.
And it's going to be hard for people to actually break out of that, and it just creates a lot of tension, creates a lot of stress, and it's just going to make life way harder, when in reality it didn't need to be like that.
No, I mean, actually, I don't know if I said it on this recording about me going to university or not. Doesn't matter. Okay. Like, I was going to university before I started trading, and that's all I saw myself as. I was, you know, studying to be a doctor. Hey, this is what I was going to do. This is the only way I envision my life. And it's because I set a limiting belief on myself about, I can't be someone that, you know, is an entrepreneur or, you know, works from home, makes money from home. Like, I didn't see it as something that was actually possible or capable. But, you know, once you actually dip your toes into it,
start learning a little bit more.
That limiting belief gets taken away. And I think that's something that really plagues people, like, especially in our age group. Like, we see people doing things online and, like, you know, posting content and stuff. And
it comes down, like we said, with the marketing, it makes you actually believe it's possible. And that's the main thing. It makes you believe it's possible. Now, even though you may not necessarily achieve that, what you see to that extent is going to make you more likely to actually go for it. Now, it's going to make you more likely to start. And starting is the main thing. Until you start, nothing is going to happen.
It's if you can even start, because a lot of people are skeptical. So, like, I don't know, I would say have skepticism to a certain degree. Like,
You still got to try new things.
But you got to try, man.
You got to be skeptical, because at the end of the day, you don't want to try nothing. You got to do your research.
Yeah, nothing.
You got to take the risk. You got to take the risk. And some risk, you're going to lose some.
Right.
Like an analogy I always say, everything you're risking. When you go to buy something, you're taking a risk. If I bought this camera, say $1,500, that took a risk. And if I'm able to make that back with the camera, though, there was a reward, though.
Yeah, it's good.
And a lot of people, you got to look at it like that, because there's a risk to everything.
For sure.
Taking opportunities a risk. Getting a new job is a risk. Moving's a risk. Driving every day is a risk.
For sure.
But it's just the way they look at certain things. Perspective, like we said.
Straight up.
You look at certain things differently. Like, they'll be willing to buy a phone for $1,500, but they won't be willing to, say, take a plane for $1,500 to a whole different continent.
And what that's going to do for you, too, you know, seeing a different way that the world lives. But, like, sometimes I think about, like, yo, what if I clicked out of that ad that was showing me trading? Like, my life would be so different right now. Like, I would have, everything that I've experienced, everything that I've grown, the mind shift.
And it's crazy that one person was able to do that.
Right. And someone I didn't even know.
They don't even know. They don't even know they did that. And that's the type of thing. That's why I say everyone should make content, because even if you help one person, your advice, even if you're not necessarily in the point you want to be, is going to help someone, because there's always someone looking to be in your position.
There's different levels, and, like, you know, you might see and look up to someone, but someone else, like, that is just getting started in something, they're not going to look up to that other individual because they're so far up. But, like, you might be that person that's in between, that midway gap, that, hey, they can be, you know, they're more relatable to you, and, like, it makes you more comfortable to step out your shell. So then, like, you go and try to learn from them, and, like, it's so important to get that content out there.
You don't know who you can help, and you don't know the actual value you're doing. Like, you know, if you could have 100 subscribers, but one of them might be a billionaire. It's very unlikely, but just think about that. Even say you have 100,000 subscribers, one of them might be a billionaire, one of them might be a millionaire, or one of them might be extremely poor. Like, it ranges, and you don't know who you're helping, because you just look at it as a number. You don't see them specifically. You don't know the value that they got from it. And there's a lot of times that you're helping a lot of people, and especially trading in general. A lot of the audience, I get a lot of, like, 5-10% that's in, like, Africa.
Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff. A lot of people from outside of the continent and on that side of the world that are actually interested in it. And you don't realize, like, how much value we're able to give them, because we have so much stuff. And as long as we can put on YouTube and we can give them the value, all they need is just that internet now. They don't necessarily need all that experience that we got. They don't need to go through all the stuff that we went through, because we're actually able to share that message with them and keep them from doing things that didn't necessarily help us.
Yeah, you got to shorten that learning curve. And, like, that's what's so beautiful, because when you get to put that content out there, put out what you've experienced, you want that next person to be better than you in some sense. Like, you wouldn't necessarily be putting stuff out there if you thought they were going to be at the same level. Like, you know, Warren Buffett didn't have this person, that person, but now we got Warren Buffett, so we should be at an accelerated pace, because we have these people.
How it is. Like, I always tell people, they'll be like, I'm trying to get like you, or I'm trying to be like you. I'm just like, nah, don't be like me. You should strive to be better. Even though it's probably not gonna happen, but you should look at it like that. You should look at it like that. That's how you should be aiming. You should be aiming to be better than
or just be you. Like, we don't need more copies of this person or that person, because then
just be the best you could be.
And it dulls the perspective, because if everyone views everything the same way, like, that's no good. Like, anytime a controversial type of opinion pops out, it gets
balanced. Life is unbalanced. It's not like we're not all gonna be able to be one religion. We're not all gonna have the same beliefs.
Life is consolidating, bro.
It is.
It's bouncing
up and down, up and down. And that's one thing trading gets into. A lot of the concepts you learn in trading, you can use them universal in life.
For sure.
And the way you look at it, like, the market really is, it's kind of showing you life in a way.
It's human created.
It's showing you what the market's doing, meaning what the people are doing.
For sure.
It's all a reflection. Money's just going around, meaning people are spending money, losing money, or people are doing things that is necessarily making the value of stuff go down. It's all human. Humans are creating all them chart movements. It's kind of, if you look at it in a way, it's like, damn.
It's life.
It shows human emotions. It shows how we look at things. And it really tests you against yourself. That's why it's so hard. It's like, damn, why can't I learn this? It's because we're the reason that shit's really moving, if you really think about it.
It's like, it's war. Like, what's going on in the charts, especially when you see a candle open and it's moving and stuff like that. You're literally seeing a battle between buyers and sellers. And if you're, hitting a point of, a supply and demand area, whether it goes up or it continues down, like, that's war right there. Like, are the buyers going to come in? Are they going to support this area? Or are sellers just going to demolish them and go through? And, like, then you start learning more about fundamental analysis and, like, I don't know, you just start seeing the world in a completely different way.
Trading has definitely changed my perspective and view on world, money, and all that. But while we're on the subject, let's just talk about a little bit how your trading is, like what your system, just the way you would go about things day by day. Like, what's your little routine?
For sure. So I'm typically trading in the New York session, trading either US 30 or NAS 100. I'm probably up by around 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
So get up around then, do a little bit of a morning routine, and by 8 o'clock I want to be on the charts. And from the night prior, I do have, my markups, I have my levels all set, stuff like that. But by 8 a.m., I'm reading to see if there was any news releases that are coming on later in the day, and just really take into account, hey, where's the trend going? Are we near any type of key level? And then seeing whatever type of confluences I can stack on before hopping into that trade. And sometimes I'll hop in before session because I'm sure you've seen.
Sometimes it moves, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it depends.
It always depends. A lot of things are very situational.
Very situational. So after it opens, I'll wait until like 9:30. After it opens, around 9:35, I'll see if there's any type of entries or any type of direction that's actually being shown on a lower time frame that obviously coincides with the larger time frame. And sometimes that doesn't happen, but if I don't catch any trade by like at least 12:30, I'll wait until around maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock if I can catch that trade from like 2:30 to 4. Because after 4,
it's
volume
dies. I wouldn't even say probably before 4.
Yeah,
it's very situational, like we said. Sometimes, on a trending day, it might just keep going until 12 a.m.
Yeah,
it trends all the way up until then. But that's very.
Or you'll see the trend go up until 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then lunchtime will hit, and then it reverses. So then you catch the reversal. So it really depends, but. I've gotten
day by day type of thing.
Day by day, and I've really gotten out of the habit of trying to force any trades because when I was first starting, I had this idea I gotta trade every single day.
It's I feel like that's inevitable with most people that stick with it long enough because you live to see another trading day every day. Mm-hmm. You start to kind of be like, there'll be another day.
There'll be another one.
But for the person that hasn't been through a whole year of it, hasn't been through 2-3 years of it, they're not gonna look at it. Oh, this might not happen again. But in reality, from being traded in 2020, we were trading moves that we thought we would never see again.
Right.
Thinking, damn, we might not see this. 2 years later, we're seeing similar shit. Like, damn, what the fuck?
Yeah. Especially
move this way.
And there's something so beautiful about learning to trade during that year, just because of how the markets were acting, because everything that was going on in the world,
and how much time we had.
Yeah, and the time aspect. But it was just
put perfectly.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, man. It was a perfect storm, and. Just the volatility that was going on, it was really interesting to learn in that time. But shit.
But now, it's definitely been. Every year is going to be different, but we're only learning as we go. We've only experienced a few years ourselves, and we're only going to get better, get more experience, and that's the type of thing that it takes time. Just like all things, all good things take time.
For sure. I wish beginners understood that too, because. Man, I've elevated so much in my trading. The way I view the charts is just so different, and the tools that I took out because it was just noise, and the stuff that I added because it provided clarity. If I would have quit, I would have never got to see the growth.
And that's good. The journey is the most important part.
For sure.
The journey is what's going to be the fun part, because once we get to that point where it's we feel like we made it, we're going to be like, what's next?
It's stagnant, man.
And we're just going to end up from there moving on to something else. And guess what? We're just going to start the whole journey over again. The journey is the main thing. The journey is where you're going to have the fun. The journey is going to be where you go through all the ups and downs. It's going to be all through emotion. Afterwards, it's going to be cool to enjoy it, but you're only going to enjoy it for a little bit. Yeah. You're going to spend 10, 20 years. And then after 1 year of enjoying it, you're going to be like, damn, I want to get back to work. I want to work on something, because that's what we're addicted to. We're addicted to progression and leveling up. That's just society as it is. You can see how we've gone from 1800s to 2000, how much we've gone up. And just as humans, we like progression. As men, I would say in general too.
For sure. Domination,
we like to see,
conquering.
We want to see everything be built. We want to build stuff. We want to have an empire. We want to see things keep going up. So when you try to just be like a stay-at-home dad, it's like, as a man, a lot of the time you're not going to be as happy. You get your happiness from seeing success, seeing fulfillment, helping other people, and making money. That's what I wouldn't say making money, but making the money is what's going to be needed.
It's a byproduct. It's a byproduct. So you focus on something that gives you purpose and fulfillment, and if you point that in the right direction, money is going to be the other output out of it. Because chasing the money only, like it's dangerous because it's not enough.
The money. The thing is, people don't want just money. If I gave you $1 million, but you couldn't spend it,
right?
There's no point. You want it for what it's gonna get you. You want the things money could buy. You want it because you want to travel.
The options. It
unlocks. You want the cars,
life.
but the money. It's like it unlocks it. Now that you have the money, okay, I can actually do this now. When in reality, you don't care for the actual money. You're working a job to get the money to pay the bills,
right? Because
you need all that. But if money was just money and we couldn't spend it, nobody would care for it. It would just be paper.
Right.
No one would even print it. It would just be useless. And people don't realize that it's just a tool. Money's just a tool that we use to get the things that we actually want.
Yeah, man, I would say trading really changed my view on money. Like, I don't believe it's not real. Like, anytime that they print money, they just change numbers on the actual data at the Federal Reserve. Like, and
they could just add in one number.
Yeah, add in an extra zero. Boom, everything's different. But like, it just trading really gives you the perspective of viewing money as that tool because you
realize how much of it is here. How much of it is attainable, how much is moving, and you don't really necessarily look at it as money no more. You just look at it as just numbers.
It is just numbers.
It's just numbers. That's all it is.
Yeah.
There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. After that, it's just repeat it. All repeat it. Just 1, 0. It's just repeated numbers. There's only 9 like real numbers, and then after that, it's just repeated. You just keep making new combinations, and it's never ending.
And to think that trillions are being traded in the forex market a day, like. Bro, I'd have no idea what I would do with $1 trillion.
I don't even know how many zeros that is. I don't even know how many zeros. That wouldn't even fit on the MetaTrader like the blue screen.
Like,
that shit would be all the way off.
You just start seeing it in a completely different way. And also, like, yes, you're spending time on the charts.
And especially when you're growing as a trader. When you're growing and slowly seeing, like, your profits are more, your losses are more. You just slowly see how much money... And it's
different.
Keeps getting higher. It's gonna keep just getting higher. It's gonna keep on going. Like Q Banks and them, they were at some point where we were and less. And they're at a point now where they're going even higher, and they're trying to get to where there's other people.
I saw Mans cleared 300K the other day on his MetaTrader. Like,
it's crazy.
And
he's probably looking at it like, yeah, but this guy did 3 million.
Right. Because
there's always another level.
Yeah, there's always another level. But with trading, like you're using your time, to work, but like you're using your money. And now money becomes like this muscle that you get to use, or this tool that you get to use, and like it's like you get some money and you're like, yo, get your friends, get your other money, we're gonna all stack together, and it's just this building block of like price just going higher and higher and higher.
The best thing with it is your job is using your money to make you more money.
Right.
That is the job. You're taking the money to try to potentially make more of it.
Yeah.
And that's power because there's never an ending to it.
And it's so non-traditional too. Like, you
can have fun with it too. You can try to flip it if you wanted to. Just on a say you just want to have a day. Yeah, let's have a fun day.
Yeah.
Let's take this. We're just gonna over leverage everything.
Yeah, there was actually this time I had NFTs in those days, but I had like 220 in this account. I forgot about it, and there was this XRP trade I was looking at. This was back in either late 2020 or early 2021, and I flipped that $200 to like over 1,000 in one trade. I think it was like 320% in just that one trade.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
And it's fun to do stuff like that, but like
you just look at the numbers, you're like, damn, what if this 220 account was just $2,000?
No, don't talk to me about that.
And then you're like, then you look at it like, damn, 300%. If I made, how much you said you made turned it to 1,000. That's like turning 2,000 to like 10K, and then you look at it like, damn, it's really only just numbers.
Yeah,
and that's the main thing trading does. It changes your perspective because now it's just numbers. It's not money. It's not none of that. It's just a number. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You look at it different. You're not as attached to it either. Because the longer you trade, you're gonna kind of get attached with money. I spend money like never before because I don't really look at it the same.
You don't hold on to it.
It's just a number. You get okay with losing it because I'm losing money every day.
You gotta be okay.
If I spend money every day, I'm losing it with my job, and people don't necessarily have to do that. Not a lot of people go to work and lose money.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow.
That's ass. That's ass.
I mean, even if you get a winning trade, you're going to be taxed on like the commissions. Yeah,
some of it is getting taken. That's your tax, and then we got to go pay the other tax.
Yeah, the other.
So it's just like there's a lot of different. There's a lot of things that people don't see. Like an analogy I always uses, they see in all this, but they don't see the behind the scenes, and you only see what's in front of you, and that's just something that people always use to keep it in mind. At the end of the day, just always be aware of it. You never see the behind the scenes. You never see behind closed doors. You never see what's going on. To get someone into the point that you see.
Yeah, what it even took. Like, it takes a lot. And
especially with trading. A lot of the hard parts in trading, nobody ever sees. You're not going to see the darkest and deepest, worst parts of trading.
When you're just blowing an account, have no idea what to do.
Like, it's one thing for me to show you a big-ass loss, but you're never going to feel what I felt in the middle of that trade, watching it go negative, and then losing the trade, and then knowing I can't take one afterwards, or having to go to the gym afterwards, or having to go to sleep afterwards. And there's, like, little stuff where shit happens. Say you lose a trade on a day that other shit happens too. People don't realize
just so much
how
worse.
Shit can get so much worse, and it can then shit like that can then mess up your whole week, month, because mentally that's everything when it comes to trading you. So if you're not in the right spot, if you go through a breakup, you get into a car accident,
don't trade.
There's a lot
Can't be trading,
and it's hard because a lot of time if that's someone's job too, it's like, damn, they got to be in the position to actually be able to do that, and not a lot of people are, and that's why it's like it's the type of thing where only the strong survive. Things happen, but it's about continuing to conquer after those things happen. How you handle things when they happen. That's really what it comes down to.
So I got a really good story on that, man. Around in August, I was like lifting, got an injury, couldn't lift anymore. I had to go to the emergency room. I was having like some issues with my chest. They found out it was something called costochondritis. It's basically inflammation of the sternum, and shit was painful as hell. So I went from being in the gym 5-6 days a week to now it's gone. And this is during August as well, which I don't know how
summertime.
I don't know how that is trading for you, but August is not my best month.
Yeah, it's usually summer months are kind of just like.
But having that, happen, and then I don't even get my my mental release and my strength release in the gym anymore, and then I'm on the charts. It was just like a recipe for disaster. Like I was not performing at what the standard I try to hold myself to, because I was dealing with this other thing in life, and I didn't even realize how helpful going to the gym was for that stress release and getting it off my chest.
It's another thing that keeps you disciplined and consistent, because another thing I say is you're not consistent in one or two things. You're either consistent as a person, or you're not consistent at all, or you're not disciplined at all. Because if you're constantly not going to the gym, what makes you think you're going to constantly trade every day? More than likely, if you're doing one, you're going to be doing the other. Because you're just disciplined as a person. Like if I'm not taking a whole bunch, if I'm not going to the gym all week, more than likely I'm either missing a few days trading, or I'm not even putting my full effort to do that. But if I'm doing both, it's going to be a recipe for success, because I'm sticking to the same thing day in, day out. Yeah,
no one's going to hold you accountable in trading, man. Like, no one cares. No one's going to tell you to do it. You have to do it yourself, and it's the same thing with the gym.
You versus you. If you take anything from this about trading, you don't see the hard parts. It's only going to get harder. It's never going to get easier. Sorry who wants to hear it. It doesn't get easier, because the more money you make, more problems.
Different level, different game.
And when you start doing other stuff, like, mind you, when trading is your only thing, it's the easiest, because now you only have one thing.
Simple focus
that could potentially stress you out. When you get good at trading and then you lose money, but then you're focused on other stuff like gym, like stuff like that, the gym, content creation, shit like this with the SD card. It's little shit that people don't necessarily see, and it's just stuff that you just have to keep going. Like I keep looking at it to make sure it don't say that shit again, because you just never know. Learn from. I got PTSD from experience.
We go 40 minutes deep, and then we're like, "Yo, what the fuck happened to the footage?"
But I think this is a good little first episode. We got some good points. I think. What do you have? Like, what would you say you have some goals for the next 6-12 months for you?
So some other goals would be to get more allocation and funding. I'm really looking for a different type of company that I can, trust and stuff like that. So get more money that way. Use a copy trader to just,
that's the main thing to do with the funded and live accounts. It makes it easier, especially if you're able to risk the same thing. You're not able to stress running on 2 different phones or 2 different laptops. It just makes it's gonna make it easier.
That's way tough.
What about for content? What do you have any goals for content?
Content, man, consistency, bringing more consistency to it, man. I already have a bunch of videos scheduled up on YouTube, edited and stuff like that. It's already on YouTube, going to be posting it, but still just focusing on trading content and mindset stuff. Like
it all comes down to just starting. The sooner you start, the more you can actually get into it. Until we actually sat down and record the podcast, we wouldn't have learned problems we could have potentially had. And that goes for everything. Same thing with gym. You don't realize maybe you have weak legs until you go to the gym and prepare your arms.
Dang, savage.
It's just, it comes down to it sometimes.
No, for sure.
Until you start, it's not going to start like with a FTMO challenge. Until you actually take the first trade, it's not going to start. Until you start it, there's no end goal, there's no target. You have to actually start building that data and realize what you got to go through. So one thing taken from this is just start. Whether it's trading, whether it's going to the gym, starting a new business, going to school, going back to school, just do it. If you think it's going to benefit you, take the risk. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to know what it could potentially do for your life until you do it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But what would you say? Have some last words?
Yeah, and I'm going to ride off of that. So one of the biggest lessons I learned this year, intention, understanding why you want to do something. It has to be bigger than you. It has to be bigger than you. It can't be something that, everyone says, oh, because it's cool, or, oh, because I think I'll like it, or, oh, because it'll make me money. Nah. So I can get my mom out the house, so I can buy her a better crib. It has to be something that's bigger than you.
You have to have the goals. You have to, even if it's some that you might not necessarily reach, you'll get way closer aiming for the scars. But you'll get way closer having high and very, some would say impossible dreams, but
for sure
it was impossible, so someone did it. So yeah, that's what I always say.
So you take that intention, you subtract ego. So don't think that you're better than everyone else, and don't look at someone else and think that they're the holy grail. Like, why was Kobe doing so good? It's because Mans was in the gym practicing while other people that were already in the NBA
doing what other people weren't, and he was getting the results other people didn't 100%. Have. That comes down with it. Everyone has to do that.
And then at the end, once you've subtracted ego, you add execution. You just have to start. You just have to take that jump.
You got to not look at yourself as you're the best, because once you look at yourself as you're the best,
you lost.
You don't have anywhere to grow.
No competitive nature that's added to it, because now you think you're a top dog. And that's what winning streaks actually teach you too. Like, boom, you get humbled real quick after a winning streak. It's just like, it's weird how that happens.
You just have to keep going no matter how many losses you've had, no matter how many wins. Like, look, for an example, NBA Youngboy. He drops songs and weekly, monthly, but he's consistently doing it. Mm-hmm. He's consistently doing the same thing. And it's just doing numbers. Because the one thing I realized is his music doesn't stick. And he realizes that.
Yeah, so you got to keep supplying.
He keeps supplying with new stuff. Because he's realized that he'll have maybe some songs that stick that people can listen to, but it's not like Drake where he could drop one album. They're all gonna be songs that stick. With him personally, his type of thing, they don't stick, so he's quantity. And as it's working, and he's learning to work, and he continues doing what's worked. Mm-hmm. He's even doing more of what it is. And it's just crazy. You just gotta look at, you can learn lessons from everything. Be observant. Observe a lot of stuff.
Observant.
Everything.
Taking into account perspective, and be around people that challenge you. Mm-hmm. Be around people that challenge your perspective. It's really good.
Yeah,
they want you to grow.
For me, because I feel like when you have a certain personality when you do certain things like content, trading, being an entrepreneur, you just have you think differently than most people, and that kind of puts you in a position where a lot of people kind of clash heads with you because you got different beliefs, and that's definitely me. That's why I have kind of the podcast in a way. I like to talk. I like to get other people's perspectives.
Right.
It's good to just go back and forth, because even though you might not necessarily agree or disagree with what they say, it's good to hear it, because you see how other people view things, and not even though you don't view it like that. If you view something as red and I look at it say like blue,
right?
It doesn't necessarily change anything. But now you're like, damn, who else thinks like that?
Yeah.
Would other people look at me like that too? If they're thinking that, well, maybe they will too. And it's just like, at least you're now keeping in mind that this is something. And
in reality, it's purple, but you got these two people saying it so differently, and like that, it's. I gotta say, man, it's really beautiful to be able to have a conversation like this, speak to someone that has a like-minded individual, because it's really hard to find people that can talk about these things.
It's all about networking. Networking is very important. Even like I would not necessarily know if we had similar beliefs until we met. It's just the type of thing you gotta just go for it, see what happens,
execute, and take the chance.
Action. Worst the worst that can happen from this is we just never talk again, and we got a whole bunch of content that's gonna end up benefiting people that we never even
provide.
So it's like regardless, it was a win-win situation, but I think that we provided some good value. We gave some goals. We'll definitely have you back to see those goals get achieved. But with that being said, that was this podcast. It was kind of a little bit everywhere, but regardless, it's going to be the type of thing it's going to be a lot of clips being able to be made, because a lot of the podcasts, people don't listen fully through it. Right. But the one where you're going to get the most people is when you get those specific parts where it's like those important things.
Yeah, it really hits home.
Matter. But for the ones that did watch it, appreciate it. Hopefully the studio is nice. This is the second episode in this little studio.
It's great here, man. Like, y'all don't see all the whole setup, but this man got the works.
Only gonna get better. Like, I'm gonna get new sound panels. I'm gonna get like better ones where it's like they're a little bit bigger. I'm probably do the whole wall, different paintings. I'm gonna get like a curtain to cut this whole off. So it's just gonna be like a black or white curtain.
I guess it'd be better for the light,
and it'll be over here, just like in its own little studio area. Yeah. We'll have a lot planned. Like, I just put this on before you came, and I put the 3 up top. Like, those weren't there before you came. I was just like, shit, I might as well.
Man keeps on working.
It makes it look a little better. Now, with that being said, appreciate everyone for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. And that's wraps. All right, yeah.
That was dope as fuck, bro.
Yeah. Good little dude. Now you get one. That was your first one ever?
Yeah, man. I only have one other homie that trades in the area.